yet.
Huh. Can you take me in at all to these meetings that you've had, how heated they were, how divided they were, what were some of the concerns that people were talking about?
They've actually been pretty passionate, where they talk about the clients in need, kids in need of being protected, elderly in need of being protected from neglect, and they talk about the overwhelming caseloads, and they're just wondering, so where are the resources coming from to answer the increased need? So that's the kind of thing they're talking about you know, it just doesn't make sense that the approach that the governor's taken. It's counter to what's going on out there with the need. You know, and if they do talk, they've kind of expressed what Jay has said. We don't want to see any of our fellow state employees go through a financial devastation of a job loss.
But there's also the sentiment out there that everybody is facing tough times right now, and there was even a recent poll that showed a lot of people agreed with the governor that, you know, maybe 19 furlough days isn't so bad in these tough times. Can I get your reaction to?
Well, I think that's a great point. However, you have to take a look at the increased demand that's out there from the public asking for help. An economic recession causes a detrimental situation for so many New Hampshire families, and they're reaching out to the state for help. And you know, our state employees want to help, and they want to be there to help. They want to have the resources there to help.
And the bargaining team right from the beginning have offered up alternatives to taking those furloughs. So it's not like we are unaware of what the fiscal constraints are. Mm-hmm. We've known that right from the beginning, and I know the SEA's team went in there with looking at early incentive for retirement. They've looked at taking a 4-day work week. They've looked at taking an hour a week off. They've suggested a lot of great ideas. So it's not like the furloughs and the layoffs are the only thing out there.
Yeah, and then one of the things that was mentioned was the voluntary furloughs. Is it realistic to think that you could save $25 million in voluntary furloughs? Who wants to step up and do this?
It is. We've had a lot of our members step up and say that they could afford it, and they want to afford it for those who can't. And you know, through a voluntary furlough program, through some efficiencies that the bargaining team also put forward, the savings are there. In addition to what Jay's talked about with over 1,300 vacancies, the money's there already.
And one of our big concerns has also been with the lower wage earners. If we look at someone making $24,000, $25,000 a year, for one thing, the furloughs is not going to give the state a whole bunch of money because they don't get a lot of money. But the chances that they're going to be put in severe economic harm are pretty great. So we wanted at least a circuit breaker that would protect some of those lower wage earners.
So if it wasn't the 19 furlough days, is there a scenario that you would have liked to have seen in this? Was it the 4-day work week?
The 4-day work week was one. Greater efficiencies in governmental administration that were offered. There were some very
But 4-day work week would mean you'd shut down a lot of offices for 1 day a week.
Right, but we would be open later during the week for when people get off work or when they can get there. So we'd have greater access to the public, or the public would have greater access to the services.
And there's been a lot of examples of that working across the country. Utah is probably the leaders in going to a 4-day work week, and they have found it's been accepted by the public. It has also saved a lot of money in energy costs, and people seem to be happier that work there. There's less sick days that people are taking. It sort of makes sense, but it hasn't caught on here yet.